straighten things out, so I have punched them and be able to just pop them in to the folder in the right spot as well. We are going to be doing a little bit of work in this section, so I'll let you know about that. So I hope your brains are turned on. But firstly, I just want to start by saying that in my years with Nutrimedics, one of the questions that I love to ask is, what would you love Nutrimedics to be able to do for you? So it's an interesting question when you ask it of someone. So even if, like the other day I had someone on the phone I was speaking to who had indicated on my website they wanted to join, that was still my very first question. What would you love Nutrimedics to be able to do for you? Because it opens up the conversation rather than just say, oh, do you just want to shop for yourself or do you want to shop for your friends as well? And see the difference already in the conversation that you're establishing. So it has been for me a really important question. And like for those, I'm looking at these faces, you've heard me say all this stuff so many times, but that's okay, just pretend like you're hearing it for the first time because some haven't. So my other question too that I love is, so if someone says, oh, I don't know, I just maybe want to earn just a little bit of extra money, maybe that'd be good. Now, always follow that up with, you obviously have some reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is? That's one of my pet questions that I think I was born with that question. I'm pretty sure I used to say that to my teachers. I know I've certainly said it to my family. But it's a very gentle question. So you obviously have some reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is? You're not saying, why do you say that or why? It's not a combative why. It's a question that actually psychologically is very well crafted.
Could you just repeat that last bit, please, Lee?
The last question.
You obviously have some reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is? So you're actually asking permission to ask. Yeah. It's a very respectful question.
The young person, when she was doing, sorry, I
Well,
remember when
I'm
she was
open
doing,
to conversation.
creating a brighter future, and she said, do I have your permission to ask or, give you some information? It's very respectful.
It is, and it establishes a tone for the relationship moving forward as well. So, I'm going to ask you that question. What would you love Nutrimedics to be able to do for you? Please take a moment and jot your answer down.
Right then, I know.
Right now. Furiously, you might not have completed your list, but you've got something to start your list. Okay. Do you see how different that is than if I'd said to you, write down your goals?
No.
It's a different way of approaching things, isn't it? You know, so if I said, write down your goals or write down your dreams, it again has a different tone, it has a different feeling. Whereas if I say to you, ask you that question, what is it that you'd love Nutrimedics to be able to do for you? You can think of an answer pretty well straight away. Not so much for this group here, but when you're talking to people in your team, when you're talking to prospective new joiners in your team, if you were to say to them, well, what are your goals? A lot of people, very sadly, aren't brought up or aren't in an environment where thinking about goals is a thing. So it can be very confronting to ask someone what their goals are. Other people have travelled through life and have had their goals almost beaten out of them. They've been endured disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. and they actually lose the courage to dream. And, I'll come back to that because I think that's one of the biggest gifts that as Nutrimedics consultants we have to offer. We do have exceptional product, we do have a great opportunity, we do have the opportunity to have an online business. But the biggest gift, the biggest offering we have when we come across other people, other women in particular, is to give them back the ability to dream. What a gift. What a gift. So think about how important you are. Think about the ramifications if you don't open your mouth. Think about the vehicle for change that you can be. Think about how you can be the queen bee of your own hive and have people come in sharing a common goal and a common dream and a common purpose. But that's what service is about. I'm often asked to talk about customer service, and I love servicing my customers. But that to me is the real service that's in this business. It's serving other people, and I'm going to say other women, sorry David, but 99.9% of the people in the team are women, and I'm talking to the girls. So I'll get that out up front. So when we interact with other women, and we interact in a very gentle way, which is our nature, and we open up the opportunity to them, and then we show them and direct them on how to take those very first steps, and we understand what steps they want to take, because it's not service to treat someone in a fast and furious way, to use the Chia's terms, if they want to be as slow and steady, is it? But if we don't ask the right questions, we don't know. And sometimes our industry does have a bad name because we treat everyone as a fast and furious. But conversely, we can get a bad name because we treat everyone as a slow and steady. So if you have someone that really wants to have courageous dreams, but you're just doing you only have to place an order once every 6 months, and the company will send you an email and you can forward that on, and you've got your own website you can share the link. Is that going to build a dream for someone? No. It's going to mean that they've got a good opportunity to be a good shopper. But it's not dream building, it's not inspirational. It's not the hive that was built by Bill and Melinda all those years ago. So today we have a double opportunity, a multiple opportunity, because we still have the biggest gift we can give to others, which is the opportunity to really create change in their lives. But we also have a fabulous product, and we have a great opportunity for people to be able to access it in a simple way at a great price. But don't think that one excludes the other, one replaces the other, one's better than the other. They're just now multiple opportunities that we didn't have in the past. So, is anyone brave enough to share what they wrote down? Yes.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Financially, work-life balance, and to be me.
Okay. So, Jackie, you obviously have some reason for saying that. Do you mind if I ask what it is?
I can't because I'm still crying from what you just said before. You hit me very hard when you talked about people not making goals and having their goals taken away or bashed away from them. That hit.
Bless. Anyone else like to share? No, you made me too.
You get out the engines. Obviously take me on a journey, so which is very general. That can be anything for anybody really, and I guess it just depends on what sort of opportunities are available, and for me it means the opportunities and personal development and also the social connection too. So within the Nutrimedics team, but also with the customers as well, or clients.
Yes. Anybody else?
classes. I just love meeting new people
Your tribe,
and listening to their stories.
your
There's
village.
a lot of sad people out there at the moment.
That need that.
And they'll say, why do you do what you do? And I says, to meet people like you, to give you a nice afternoon, and make you feel good.
That's
And
nice.
that's what I do,
That's
that's what I do, you know?
Yeah,
Because I love it.
yeah.
You meet some women that have gone through shit in COVID, and you just make them look good, take some photographs, have a glass of champagne, if you like.
And they feel so much better about themselves.
Yeah, well, do you know that's,
Yes,
that's,
they walk
that's
out of
to
my
me
house.
what's all about, you know, for
Oh,
me.
the skin feels beautiful, you know, and they look great.
But how fortunate are we to be in an industry? Look, there are some great direct selling companies around, you know, don't get me wrong. But I don't know how excited I could get about mops and brooms. Just say, just say.
In your,
I don't even want to clean my own oven, you know.
Correct.
that's
But
funny.
you know, to Margot's point, we have a beautiful opportunity every day
Yeah.
to make someone feel better about themselves or to be touched. Do you know how few people get unconditional touch?
Oh, I know.
You know, so you know, for a young mum, the touch is the kids hanging off them, you know, the husband hanging off them. But to have that unconditional touch is so important. And I do, I was talking a bit last night, or some of us were about working in retirement villages. And I know for some of those people in retirement villages, when I go and do a bit of a hand cover or do something, you know,
So I was talking about,
facial, it can be the first time that they've been touched in a non-medical way for a long time.
And if it's
Particularly if they're
a-
widow or, you know, so we have an incredible, joyful job that just gives us back more than we give, day on day on day on day. So when we talk about gratitude journals, if you're not doing one, make sure that you start, because sometimes we don't know what we're grateful for. We don't see the things like, you know, I'm looking out, and as much as that bloody wattle's going to give me the irrits all weekend, when I look out over there, oh my God, it looks beautiful. And I'm so grateful that when I'm sitting here working today, I'm doing it in a cosy jumper, in a warm environment, with great food to come, and with this out amongst a group of fantastic
What else
people.
did you ask?
Oh, really? What else could I ask for? Okay, yes.
Only if you wanted, you know, someone else to contribute, you know, time-wise and everything. And Legioniosis, and sorry, I'm getting a little bit teary now. I said bloody wattle.
Blame it on the wattle.
I didn't know this is what it was going to be, but it's great. My problem, I guess, is that every day I start my day with gratitude for everything I have, and I have got a bloody wonderful life. I really, and every day I'm grateful for that. And I guess I don't dream high enough. I do picture you. I told you this at conference. I'm so happy and grateful now. I'm the president and director of the Nutrigenetics, right? So, but that there's a real conflict because I'm super happy with my life. I wouldn't, you know, there's not much that I would change, but my dreams need to be higher than my contentedness.
You obviously have
Yes.
some reason for saying that. What's that? That your dreams need to be higher. Do you mind if I ask what it is?
Oh, no, in terms of, I guess that they should be. If I want to be at the, you know, rank of you or the chair or whatever, they need to be higher than where they are, you know.
Just comfortable.
So
Yes,
who's-
so I'm too content and I'm too comfortable, yeah. I don't come from a space of poverty, I don't come from a space where I was not allowed to reach my goals. I was supported every step of the way with whatever I've done from my family, and, you know, it's just, I do listen and I just go, well, I don't know, you know what I mean? I just need to be aiming higher than where I am. We all know that.
Do you remember?
No.
You're motivated.
Is it just drill down on this? Is it just
Yeah,
drill
right.
down on this again? So you're saying, what I'm hearing is, I'm very happy here, and it's providing you with a terrific lifestyle, for which I'm grateful. But I should be somewhere else.
Yeah, I was
See
born
how
small.
silly that sounds?
Yeah, we all were. Yeah.
Yes, you were, I agree. When you do a little flip on that, sort of big flip, but you do a little flip, see, personal power is not positional power. So your influence and your ability to affect change with other people is not based on a title, it's not based on longevity in the business, it's based on what's happening in here. So, when your goal is revolving around affecting that change and influencing people to be able to realise their own dreams and goals, or in fact to be able to dream again, to be able to set some goals, to learn about setting goals, and to make a real change in their business, the rest happens. Okay. So one of the we used to do our goal setting sessions, and we'd say, now just like I said at the beginning, write down what your goal is. And if we had a group of, a dozen consultants, 10 of them would say, I want to be an executive sales manager, right? And that's not a goal. So if you think that writing, I want to be an executive sales manager, I want to be a sales director, I want to be a presidential director, if you think that's a goal, then you need to have a bit of a shake-up of your makeup, and I mean makeup here, not the makeup we're going to be shaking up later, because it's not a goal. Nutrimedics is the most perfect vehicle to enable you to reach your goal. So in understanding how that vehicle works, understanding what's under the engine, understanding what fuel to put in it, you'll be able to drive that vehicle to destinations you don't even know about yet, even if it means hitting a dirt road from time to time. You will get there. Okay, so it is only a vehicle. Now, in setting your destination in your GPS, in setting that destination, it might just be that some of the pit stops along the way mean a change in your title. But when that's what your sight's on, this happens as a byproduct. No one will tell you you should do something. And I want you to write the word should down and just put big X through it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
For those that know me well, they know that language is a big part of me, so there are certain words that don't exist in my vernacular. Should is one that when I hear it, I just think,
Shut up. If you shut it, you should.
It's like someone's putting something on you or me when I hear that word. And never say to your kids or your family, you should do this or you should do that, because what you're saying then is, I think this is what's right for you. And I don't have the judgment.
No, I agree. Yeah,
It's
totally.
not my place.
Julie, can I just say the other thing to think about is, what do you think would change in your life if you became a presidential director?
There's another word.
When?
If has to
Lucia smacks me on my ifs all the time. When you become a presidential director, what will change in your everyday life? And is there a limiting belief that you've got attached to that, or a fear?
Whoa.
No, well, that's what I'm feeling from you.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty much.
Well, you don't have to tell us now, but that's the thinking.
I've got one ready to go.
Go.
So, when I'm a presidential director, I'm going to have a holiday house in Coffs Harbour.
Yes.
That's your motivation.
And see, that's the
Not just a
difference.
goal,
So
motivation.
when you write down, as part of what Nutrimedics can do for you, that Nutrimedics can provide you with a holiday house in Coffs Harbour, then it's a very simple process. And I'm going to show you how you do it. There's no magic in it, it's mathematical. So you just have to do a little bit of work in advance and then it's mathematical. And I had all this stuff on attitude and mindset. I'm just throwing all that out. I think we just had a discount. But except to say that it's also really important to understand. I'm so grateful in my life that my career followed a really interesting path on my way to Nutrimedics. And I was in the right place at every time for the right amount of time for the right people. Things just happened for all the right reasons. So once I left university, my first job was with Yellow Pages. Can you believe it doesn't even exist anymore? But back in the day, when you could, it was the only place you could look people things up in. It was the Google of the
Right,
zero. That's right. So
Paper version of it.
I was very blessed to have had 8 years in that organisation, and that really shaped who I was to become in my sales life, in my leadership life, and a lot in my personal life. And we had some fabulous mentors in there that are still really, really good friends after all of this time. But I can remember having a training session a bit like this, and we were at Feel the Serenity.
Senior moment?
Shepperton.
Shepperton.
Eildon. We're at Lake Eildon.
Bonnie Doon.
Bonnie Doon Feel the Serenity, but I always thought of that. So we were there at a conference, and we had a presentation, and it was about your subconscious and your conscious mind. And then we later went on and did a lot of work on that. And so for me, I grew up in Ballarat. I just went to the local Catholic school. I wasn't exposed to a lot of these concepts, although I'm blessed in that I was exposed to the embodiment of them with my mother. But she would never have been able to verbalise why she thought, felt, or did these things. She was just an extraordinary woman, still is. So I learned about the subconscious mind, and it just blew me away. So I learned that only 10% of our mind is conscious, and 90% is subconscious. But I think one of the most exciting things I learned was our subconscious is so powerful, but we can trick it really easily. So our subconscious actually cannot tell the difference between, I'm going to say, because I want to do something I used to do years ago. I'm going to do a little imagining exercise with you. So I want you to just sit back, put your hands down, sit back in your chairs. Because this was how I learned this all those years ago. Sit back in there. Lay hands on your lap softly, close your eyes. You don't have to worry, I'm not going to steal anything. Well, that's a great opportunity. Okay, close your eyes. Now, I want you to imagine that on your lap is one of the beautiful white plates that you've just taken out of the shelf here. And sitting on that white plate right in the centre is a bright yellow lemon. So it's just been picked from a tree. I'm sure there's some lemon trees around here somewhere. It's still got some leaves on it.
Didn't see any.
And I want you to really have a good look at that lemon. So I want you to look at it and look at its particular dimples and any flaws it might have, how many leaves are attached, what the stalk looks like, the colour of it. And I want you to look at it so well that if I was to come with a basket and gather up all of your lemons and put them in the basket, that you'd be able to pick your own lemon back out. So now magically on your plate also appears a knife, and I want you to take the knife and cut your lemon in half. And as you cut the lemon in half, smell that beautiful citrus smell, that fresh citrus smell that just invades your nostrils. And have a good look at your lemon, the cut part of your lemon. Have a look at how thick or thin the pith is. Can you see any seeds? What sort of lemon is it? Is it a standard Maya lemon? Is it an orangey looking lemon? What colour's the flesh? So now I want you to take one of those halves in your hand and give it a gentle squeeze so that the juice bubbles up onto the surface of that lemon. Now run your tongue over the lemon and pick up the juice. Okay, now I'm going to open your eyes, please, and tell me who's actually salivating. Yeah, okay. So the reason that you're salivating is the illustration of what I'm talking about here. None of you, I can promise, were just sucking the lemon. But because you imagined in such vivid detail, engaging most of your senses, then your subconscious cannot tell the difference between what is reality and what is vividly imagined. So this is the power of visualization, and the power of affirmation. It works on that subconscious. So the things we tell ourselves affect our subconscious and the reality of our subconscious. So things like, I can't do this is really hard, I don't feel well, I'm tired. Think about the language, think about what you're telling yourself. Because sometimes we tell ourselves things that are far worse. Oh, my thighs look terrible in this, or my hair's terrible, or I'm not attractive, or no one wants to listen to me, or I'm too young, I'm too old to do this.
Yeah.
All those things just start building and building in our subconscious. So how do we avoid that? We avoid that by consciously working with our subconscious.
There's
Limiting
a
beliefs.
saying years and years ago when I was probably in my early 20s, maybe late teens, and it was careful what you wish for. And it's always resonated with me because sometimes I'd want something so badly that I'd manifest it or wish it and it would happen. And it wasn't necessarily the best thing. So I think it's the same as if you, and I see that all the time where you become the person that you've created in yourself. Like if you have a really negative attitude in the sense of self-worth as well, it really affects your physical being as well as your well-being.
Yes.
So I can't do that, or I feel really sick, or which are valid things, but it's that shift. I ask for that, or I wish for that, and not all things obviously,
Yes.
but just generally that affirmation thing, or that thing you're talking about is very powerful.
It is. And it's persistence and consistency with it as well. So you can't have a day off from it, unfortunately, because the way the subconscious works is it'll latch on to the negatives rather than the positives. And it's not a good linguist. So rather than say things like, don't forget to be here at 6:30, your subconscious doesn't hear the don'ts and the little words like that, it just hears forget 6:30. So that's why it's important to use remember. That's another part of linguistics. Remember to be here. Remember to pick up the dry cleaning. Remember to take the rubbish out, please don't. Rather than don't forget. So think about how you speak with your subconscious, because it's very literal, but it will do what you ask. But remember, it is very literal. So sometimes what we ask for, we think we're asking for the right thing, but then when we check our language and go, now I get it. Now I get it. Okay. I need to be more specific and understand how literal you are. As I mentioned, that's why visualisation is so important. So I'm just going to use Julie's goal of having a beach house in Coffs Harbour. Okay, so I'm sure you've done all
I'll
that.
Airbnb it so you can all.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, Lee.
That's fine. So the manifestation of that is really important, and the point that we made about that is the driving force. Because if I was to say to you, you don't want to use it, if I was to say to Julie, thinking about that house in Coffs Harbour, does that give you a bit of a butterfly in your tummy? And why does it give you a butterfly in your tummy?
Because I really want it, and I picture myself there, and so that's why. And I'm having a similar thing at the moment with the current. If you don't mind, I'll just diverse on a smaller scale with the activity that you've just done. I'm doing at the moment because I'm not a big stuffed people, but I do like my apple things, right?
Yes.
So I'm now picturing myself with the gallery of gifts thing at the moment, my iPad arriving on the kitchen bench, I can feel it. I'm doing that every day, and it's in the bag.
And that's really important to be able to do that. So just going back to this example, because I think it's a really interesting one, but I'm sure when
make the movie in your mind of that house at Coffs Harbour, and you play that movie, are you there on your own?
No, I was there, yeah.
And who else might be there?
Oh, no one else. We don't like many people.
I was kind of hoping you might say that I was up for it. She should say So the emotion around that is of relaxation, calm.
Yes.
I guess a sense of pride. You feel the pride of having been able to provide that for you and your husband, and for family members when they come, and uplines.
Nutrisisters.
As you said, I've got to be very specific now, because there may be a chance that one day my husband will come home from work and say, hey, you know that house in Coffs, let's just buy it. You know what I mean? So I've got to be prescriptive that my work with the company has provided us with that.
Absolutely. Okay. So, thinking, look, for some of you it might be, to go to Europe or go back to Europe and spend some time there, or it might be a holiday anywhere, it might be take the grandkids to Disneyland, it might be renovate the house you're in, it might be a deposit for a house or for an investment property, it might be a whole host of things. I know for a lot of us in our early days with Nutrimedics, and let's be mindful of this when we're talking to younger people, it was about educating our kids, paying for those bloody school fees. And the reason for that was not just because we wanted to pay for school fees, but because we wanted to provide for our children the opportunities, better opportunities. I'm not unhappy about the opportunities I had growing up. I don't feel resentful about that. But I think it's normal for every generation to want to provide something better for the next. And there are more opportunities, different opportunities, as Neil said. So whatever that thing is that you want and that you love, make sure, I'd like to talk about it in terms of creating a movie reel. Like, you go to the movies and you see the upcoming features. So sometimes I actually play the full feature, but just the reel, make sure it's really vivid for you. So think about the house, think about the holiday, be able to picture it like it's actually happening, and play that movie every night before you go to sleep. I'll lie in bed and play the movie. Okay.
Can I ask, is this personal? What's in your movie? You don't have to answer that.
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
I'm happy to share, because my movies change. Like I can remember, and in fact I was talking about this with my daughter recently, that I can remember my movie was that whenever I saw something come on in the theatre, I could just buy tickets and we'd all go. And I wouldn't have to think about, what's in the budget or what's happening with that. And I said, but Mum, you've always done that. And I said, well, it looks like that to you, but that was actually a deliberate move that I changed because I wanted that sort of experience together. So now a lot of mine revolves around travelling and revolves around time. And so with the time, it's time just to be sure that I've got time to be there when I'm needed, but when my parents need me more, and they're terrific now, but I need to craft that. And at the moment, I'm also really excited about my increasing involvement in communities. So they're the things that play in my movie. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
But I love the travelling movies.
Travel movies.
Yeah. And I can remember when I was planning one of my trips when we first were able to go into Google and walk up and down streets. So I booked the Airbnb and then I'd go into Google and I'd had the whole neighbourhood checked out. And so my movie was so vivid. And I can remember one night I'm on Google and Alice was on Google and she said, well, I'm just coming up around here. There's a pub on the corner with several friends. And I said, I'm just coming up around that corner waiting for me. She said, no, we're not really there. So when you get to the corner, you won't see me. We were so engaged in it. It was not playing a game. Okay.
Thank you.
So make that movie, that's really important.
Yeah.
Use your dream board, put your pictures up. My dream board's on my iPad as well, so when I open my iPad, there it is. So it's on my, it's not so good on my phone because I didn't get the dimensions right, but I know what it means on my phone. So it's there every time I look at it. I love my dream board in my bedroom, right there. So there's the bed and the dream board's on the wall ahead. So it's the first thing and the last thing that I see. The other thing I always like about dream boards is that's the family one in the bedroom. And I've said this in talks before, but I never have to say no to Greg. So he gets these, I love my husband, he is a great dreamer. He has no problem with dreaming. And it's not my place to judge his dream, is it?
No.
That's right. So he always dreams about having a caravan.
Oh, shit.
And I say to him, I think you'd be very happy on your own in that.
Yeah,
And then he says, so then he'll say things like, he wanted to go to the caravan show. Fortunately, I did have a workshop on that day, and then he came home really excited. And he said, that with this caravan, you go here, 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 and here. And I said, yeah, Darling, but wouldn't you be lonely?
I love that.
So the caravan's on the dream board, right? Because that's the family dream board. So it's not like I say, don't be so ridiculous, you'd never get me in a caravan. Well, years ago it was a boat. Like we lived nowhere near water. And I don't think Greg had been on a boat in his life. But again, not for me to say. So the boat went up on the dream board. But then as a family, it was about us together making a decision about which of those things then graduated from dream board to the goal chart. Okay, so which ones actually then turned into a plan?
I'm just blown away that you have a whole family dream board and
love it.
all of that's just.
I'm going to put my hand up and say, Lee, you need to be really careful letting him go to those caravan shows by himself. Because it won't be the $100,000 caravan you've got. It'll be the $250,000 caravan.
I know. It is a dangerous thing to do.
Just be more comfortable in that.
My sister's got a beautiful motorhome that they
I don't want to hear about it.
and she's got it for sale.
I don't want to be my
She's got it for
conscious.
sale, and it's beautiful. She bought it when she was laid off by Microsoft. She was given a big payout, and she bought it. And then her and her partner decided that they weren't going to go travelling, so it's pretty much brand new.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry
there
that
you
you've mistaken Greg's contribution to the family dream board as something that I have.
So you are not a
movie
snail.
vehicle.
Lee, you're not a
Okay.
snail. You don't carry your house on your back.
No.
And Alice says Mum loves camping. Mum loves sleeping under the stars as long as there's 5 of them.
5 stars.
5 stars.
Me too.
Hotel.
Okay.
5-star hotel.
We all like 5 stars, don't we?
Yes, we do. Thanks, Lee. Thank you.
Oh, goodness, yes.
It's funny because when I joined, this wasn't part of my reasoning.
No, it never is. It never is.
Okay, so this is
So I've
this is your
got
worksheet.
So I
So we've got the process now, we
My future,
understand
my
what it is that we
These are
want
what we
each
can
minute
talk
to do for us. And when we go through this, just don't be thinking all about yourself as well. Think about how you can use this with someone else to be able to do what you need to do and grow their dreams. Okay. So, I did put the whole bunch in this on the wrong side. It actually starts on where it says number 1. Yeah, I did that on purpose. There's a bit of a history to this worksheet. This worksheet can be found in Central,
resources.
and it's no, it can't.
Not yet.
No, it can't. This can be found from us.
Just ask Lisa if it's there, Jen.
There is a bit of a history to this beautiful worksheet, though. It started many years ago as a worksheet that Bev Newsom and I worked on when I was still working corporately. Then Lucia and I got our hands on it many years ago. I think we had some change in our plan. We updated it together. And so then we used to use it a lot.
We use it all the time.
And it is a fantastic, and then Lucia and I did it again just recently and took it to Catherine, and they had the art department do it up. So that looks
very nice now.
It's not like the old one that we used to have that had the boxes in and everything. But this is a one-page look at the possibilities with Nutrimedics. It's a really powerful thing because not everybody understands what's there for them. When I'm using this with someone, so let's say, again using the house at Palm Cove as an example, then it would be, and let's pretend house at Palm Cove.
Well, let's take offs, otherwise Hubby will come home and say, let's get this.
Sorry, Hub's actually on my dream board at the moment.
Oh, there you go.
Going on up there. Okay, so let's talk about that, or let's talk about, say, a holiday, because I think that's something we all relate to. If we all love to go away. So let's say it's trip overseas. So the first thing I would ask you is, have you costed it?
Have you costed it?
Yeah, can you tell me how much that's going to cost you? So some people will say yes, other people won't, because for some people it's just a daydream.
Yeah.
For others it's something like, this is what I want, this is what I'm working towards, and this is what I need. So let's say no, haven't costed it. Well, you can sort of come up with a figure pretty quickly. So okay, how many of you are travelling? Airfare's going to be about this much. You need to allow about this much per day for accommodation. Do you think, this much per day for your meals and entertainment will be enough? How long do you want to go away for? So you're going to need roughly $10,000. Okay, so let's say it's $10,000. So I would have already spoken to them about, the other magic questions about, if I was to give you $500 today, 5 lovely, crisp, brand new $500 notes, and you didn't have to tell anyone about them, what would you do with them?
2 pairs of shoes.
So, buy some shoes. Well, that's right.
I would too.
Or I'd get the kids school shoes, I'd buy school books, I'd have a credit card, I'd have a dirty weekend away with my husband, have a dirty weekend away with somebody else's husband. So you're going to hear a whole range of things. So what it tells you though, what it indicates, it doesn't tell you, what it indicates to you is whether somebody's in a position where they have disposable income available or whether their income is in a critical situation.
Yeah.
So if someone's in a critical situation versus someone who's in a disposable income situation, there's a whole different way you need to approach this to remain respectful. So someone in a critical income situation, and you go off talking to them about holidays, and then when you get to executive sales manager, you get a car and you get a diamond and this and whatever at that. That is just going to, it's too much. Okay? Yeah. But if I've ascertained that someone may be in a critical income situation, then they tell you that, right?
They won't.
But if they're saying things like, I'll buy school shoes, I'll pay for credit card, it's not frivolous 500. Like Mary's first thought was, I'm going to buy myself two new pairs of shoes. I know Mary's not in a critical income situation, because you would never say that if that was the case. Now, it is a generalisation, you can't be 100% sure, but you can use your other girly senses and get a bit of a feel. So if someone's in a critical income situation, and let's say we've talked about, because the other, you would say to them, now if I was to give you $2,000 a month, every month for the next 2 years, so that's $24,000, what would you use that for? Then you'll start to hear a bit about their dream. Then they might say, put a deposit on a house, renovate the bathroom, put my kids in a different school, change my husband. So, you know, it could be a whole range of things, but some of those things are going to be more dreamlike things. Okay. So, one of the first questions when we're talking about volume rebate and personal sales, I always explain that this is the part of the income that you can control the most and the most quickly. So this is where you can build your income quickly. So if we're looking at 10,000 for your holiday and we need that over, when would you like to do this? I'd like to do it before the kids are in high school. Okay, so what's our time frame? 2 years, 3 years? Yeah, we'll do it. I'd love to do it in 2 years. So we've got 24 months to work on this. So tell me how much you'd like to earn firstly from Nutrimedics to be able to sort of bridge the gap between where you are now and financial comfort, where you're comfortable enough to be able to start saving for this trip. So what's the bridging money that we need there to close that gap? Someone say, oh, 500 a month, we'll do that. Okay. So now you know 500 a month, anything over and above that can be saved for a trip. So you can work out you can work the time out, you can work the work program out based on that. Okay? So looking at personal rebate, then I would say, how many opportunities do you have in a week where you can be out in front of people, running a workshop, doing a treatment, holding a masterclass? You don't have to be a master, don't worry, I'll teach you what you need to know. How many opportunities a week would you have to do that? Oh, 2, 3. And it's really funny because sometimes the people that you think are the busiest are the ones that say 3 or 4. Because busy people do that, we know that. Okay, so when you work that out, I usually take it back to 2. So even if they say 3 or 4, I say, let's just work on 2. So if you were to do 2 of these in a week, and we know each time you're out doing an event or a cabinet coaching with half a dozen or so around a table, we know that you're going to at least get $500 in your sales. So if you multiply that out, that's 4,000, and you're now at your top commission level. And there's $1,800 that comes in on your business. So just write 1,800 in there.
So, sorry to interrupt. So the masterclass, what would be your minimum amount of people that you'd invite? One is a minimum, and then what? So you're holding masterclass. No, that's okay.
I target the table.
So maybe 4 would be a good 4 to 6. Yeah.
No more.
Do you know what you could have 2? It's so perfect.
Yeah. But if
2's perfect.
If 5 dropped out, I'd do it for 1.
I
I've already got the time booked out.
Yeah.
Probably got my face on and I've got the table set up.
I did one last week and she spent $650.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
So you just put them in as a masterclass. Yeah.
The only time you don't hold them is when no one comes and no one else has to know that.
Yeah. I was busy that day.
Yeah, well, no one else has to know you even had a booked if no one turns up.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't have to cancel anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everything's almost booked out.
Yeah.
You know, some numbers are tight. So 2 events, 2 events in a week, $1,800. Okay. So I want you just now to revisit what you put down for what you would like Nutrimedics to do for you. Would $1,800 every month make any difference? And would it chip away at that at all?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And look how easy it is to do. I really mean it's easy to do that. Okay? There's nothing difficult about it. It just means that you visualise your diary with at least 3 bookings in every week, because you know that one of them is some real suckers and one of them will fall over. So you just visualise that. And I know that everybody wants to book with me. Everybody wants to book with me.
Oh, I can't get rid of that limit.
I'm hilarious when I'm doing my masterclasses. They love it. Everybody wants to book with me. That's the
You've got to make it fun.
Bookings come to me so easily.
Yeah, just
I
one.
never have to think about bookings, they come to me so easily. So that's part of the change of site. So when you cover off that for a start, and you have someone committed to doing 2 occasions a week, you've got someone that's going to move towards their goals and their dreams really quickly. But then I talk about sponsors bonus. That is just so powerful that when you find somebody else who wants to join your team, who wants to come along with you, whether they want to do what you're doing and earn some good money on the side, or whether they just want to shop happily for themselves, you've got the opportunity of earning a sponsors bonus on that. Then when you've got 3 of those, and you're already doing your 4,000 because you're building up to it, so it might take you 2 months to get to having those bookings comfortably. Don't tell people it'll take 6 months or 8 months. Take you 2 months maybe to get the number of bookings in your diary to be earning at that level. Then you'll find people. Do you think there are other people like you who have some dreams and goals for their families and things that they need, that the extra money from Nutrimedics might help them along towards? Do you think you would come across anyone like that? Yeah. So when you just tell them about it, you're not being pushy. The only time you're being pushy is when you put your goals ahead of somebody else's, your needs ahead of somebody else's. When you come at this from a truly genuine place, you can never be pushy because you're not being selfish. In fact, you have a responsibility because, as I said right at the beginning, imagine walking away from someone to whom this could make an enormous difference and you didn't say anything. When you get to these group leaders, senior group leader and sales manager, you then pick up an ongoing bonus on everyone in your team. So sponsors bonus only lasts for the first 6 months and it does have a couple of conditions on it. So you need to do a minimum of 500, they need to do a minimum of 500. And that's for the first 6 months. So that just gives you a taste of having a little bonus. But then once you hit the leader bonus here, then that's on all of your group, even if they've been invited in by someone that you've invited in.
Yeah.
So it's on your total group. But the thing I love about these bonuses is you double dip. So you've already earned your 45%, but because your figures are part of your group figures, you get to earn the extra 3, 4, 5% on that as well. And the other thing that's really powerful in our plan, unlike a lot of other plans, is that going back to your volume rebate, when you jump levels, that's paid right back to $1.
And that's a very...
It's not a bracket.
This point here, you've got to remember, not all companies get this.
Yeah, of course.
This is Nutrimedics, paid right back to every single dollar. That is not what happens in all companies.
So in most companies you would earn 20% on your first 500.
That's right.
And then when you do your next 500, you get another 5% just on that 500. So now you're up to 1,000. When you did your 1,000 to 2,000, so with Nutrimedics you get paid 30% on that. But with other companies you would only get the 30% on the difference on that extra 500.
Yeah. A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's why so if you look, it's like your tax brackets. You know, with your tax brackets, you pay so much on that, so much on that, so much on that. So companies say they would have a program like this, but it doesn't go back to the first dollar. So when you earn, say 50 to 4.99, you get your 20%. Yeah. But when you do the 5 to 99, you only get that extra 5% on that 500 to 999.
Yeah.
So it actually really dilutes the value of the exhibition. But it's when you flip the page, maybe that's why purposely I keep punched in the wall. This is where your true income comes in.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is where you have income to plan with, because it becomes very consistent. As an executive sales manager, you earn 7% on your first 20,000, 5% on the balance of your group. And again, it doesn't run out.
No.
It's on the balance of the group. So it's a very generous plan.
So, 7 to 14, there's an extra $1,400 a month that comes in there. So even if you're talking with someone and you looked at using their personal saves to bridge the gap and add some comfort, would $1,400 then, if you contribute when you contribute your $1,800 into the budget, are you then in a position to put all of this away towards your trip? Because that's exciting, because once you hit this level, it means within 10 months you've got the family at Disneyland. So when you're talking through this, be referring back to it. That's really exciting, Julie, because that would give you half the deposit on. So, just whatever it is that this dream is, keep referring back to it, and it's starting to make that a reality in their mind. With our downline bonus, so when you're a manager, I always explain it like this. It's about you teach, each one teach one, okay? So you join, you go out and do your events, you meet people that want to do the same thing, they join with you, one of us gets really super excited, she then gets other people in, so she, what we call, breaks away from you, and then you get a few of those, you become a manager, and you're now on page 2, you're earning some really good money, but they're also earning their money, they're realising their dreams, they're all happy and excited. And then one of those says, I want what she's having, I want a car, I want a trip, I want that regular income, because that's going to help my family. So you work with her and you show her what's needed for her to be able to realise that dream. And then she pops out of your group, and it makes sense because if she stays in your group, it's just all one big group, and you're only being paid 5% on a lot of it. When she pops out, you then get paid 7% on the first part of her. So you get a pay rise.
I know, she's watching me.
But you get a pay rise, and they get a pay rise. But it's not so much about what happens when it happens. The thing is that with our plan, the company puts its money where its mouth is. So we talk about helping people help other people. The plan is actually designed that when we do that, we get a pay rise, they get a pay rise. Other direct selling companies, you get a reduced bonus when somebody leaves your group. Okay. So this plan is set to follow the ethics that Lucia talked about. It's set to build on the strong sense that as women in nutrimetics we have of being able to help and support each other and help and support the people that we come into contact and then come into our care. I used to love Imelda saying that the people in our teams are people that have been entrusted into our care. It's a really beautiful way to think about that. So have a play with that. If you're up for the newer ones, if you're unsure of how to do that. Pardon?
About photograph.
Yes, a little bit. We can set up if you remind me of the that's fine. It is on there. Oh, is it? Okay.
Each of these steps have a minimum number.
Okay.
So you've got your 10 personally sponsored.
Yeah, so I can. So where do you find your members? Just through your
VIP.
Yeah, just anyone that shops with you.
You offer them a VIP.
They don't treat.
So many here, I don't know.
It doesn't matter, you can go up to Caloundra. You go to Caloundra for a week or two and sign up everyone, do a few workshops.
Okay,
Come
so
They can shop
we're going to finish up here because I could talk about this.
Oh, we know.
Yeah.
Otherwise we'll be having lunch at this time.
So think about your movie reel. Think about how often you play the movie reel. Think about how you talk to and direct your subconscious. And be sure that you treat yourself more kindly than you treat anyone else. Because often we don't, do we?
No, that's right.
We would never speak to other people the way that sometimes we catch ourselves speaking to ourselves. But most importantly, think about how you can be of service. And in being of service, in its truest sense, the things that you want will come to you. It's just a law, it will come to you. And isn't that the most beautiful way to do it? So thank you for being part of the Hive and our beautiful beehive.